I am often asked, Caitlin, what do you want done with your dead body? In truth, I've had pretty much the same answer for years. When I die, I want to be eaten by animals. I'm actually more enthusiastic about it than that. I'm more like Oprah going, I want to be eaten by animals! This is not exactly legal yet where I live, so I may need to seek other options. That's why last February, right before the bad times, we went to Cape Cod to meet with a man who has devised a method of putting your cremated remains into animal feed. No one asked for this segment, but that's because I think you didn't even know to ask for it. Were you working with feed blocks prior to this? And just one moment you were like, wait a minute, you know what I could put in these feed blocks?
No, actually it kind of started where you're at. I also wanted to be eaten by animals, as evidently many people do.
Our recipe today starts with a grain mixture with added corn, just good old seeds and nuts. This is our base for the feed block and can be targeted to the preferred ingredients of the type of animal that will be consuming you. Ingredient number 2 is dried molasses. This is what holds the whole thing together, helping to bind and stick the different ingredients of the block together when it's time to go to the compressor. The secret ingredient is, of course, cremated remains.
And then we have our magic ingredient,
The secret ingredient.
The secret ingredient. So these are some cremains. I'm lucky enough to have these because these were donated by a family that said it's from their grandmother, and they said they should just be very supportive of the whole idea, and so they just said, use them as you may.
I was gonna smell these like I smelled everything else, but
I wouldn't have smelled. I mean,
I know what cremated remains smell like. I think a question people have is it safe to put cremated remains with these other ingredients and feed it to animals?
Of course, I don't need to tell you this, but I spent some time researching what's in cremains. For the most part, it's phosphates and calcium phosphates, and some pure calcium itself. Yeah, some salts, and all those things are nutrients. That's why they ended up in our bodies. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with them. In fact, they are micronutrients that you would need.
Can we make one?
Yes, absolutely.
As we explained, the main ingredient for the feed blocks aren't some house of horrors situation. They're foods you'd recognize from your kitchen, or your bird feeder, at least. And let me tell you, it did not smell bad at all.
So that's, now you can smell the smell that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's like this, that's what I'm saying, it's more bitter, almost like at the top of the nose or something, but it still has a certain sweetness. Some people are like, oh, I love that smell, and people are like, oh, what is that?
It looks really good.
I know, I want to taste it. If I tasted it, would I be in trouble? Does it bother you?
No.
Are you sure?
It's not gonna hurt. I mean, I wouldn't eat massive amounts of
I
it.
don't want to eat
It's
massive amounts, but I just
it's
gotta know. I just gotta know.
I mean, the molasses itself, if you want to taste something, is probably more, I mean, the rest
That's really good.
You got a long time.
I
think we'll have eaten by animals legal by the time you die.
that would be more
I have anything to do with it. It almost smells like balsamic vinaigrette too, or like a.
You should eat it.
Guys. So what you want it to be is almost like it kind of falls like that. You see how it kind of like moves on its own? This thing between a solid and a liquid,
Would you let a family member come in here and make these with you?
I hadn't thought about that, but sure, why not?
I would love to do this with a family. I mean, again, I don't want anybody to be dead, but I think that the kind of participation healing that this might provide, if I got to help make it and put it out, would be really nice.
With the disc like this, and we put that in the press. And all we're going to do now is we're just going to run the press down on this and compress it somewhere between 40 to 50%. As it goes down, a lot of it's about the sound. You can actually hear like the material, almost like it's like snap, crackle, pop.
Oh wow, yeah. It sounds like Rice Krispies. And before long, you have a bouncing baby feed block made by Mother Nature for Mother Nature. Ashes to ashes, dearly departed to the deer in your yard. You were saying to me earlier that you don't do this for the money, you do it because it's your contribution.
It's more of a matter of, I've spent my life working in conservation and in nature and people's relationship to nature, and so this is one area I thought that I could contribute to.
People ask us as an organization all the time, what can we do to help move the movement and move the conversation about death and green death forward? And my answer is always, what are you good at? What is your what are you a nerd about? Not calling you a nerd, but what are you a nerd about? What can you geek out about? What do you spend hours and hours and hours in your garage getting into and figuring out? And that is your contribution, is the thing that's uniquely you. We left Jim's workshop that day inspired and a little bit hungrier than when we started. Yesterday, I spent 12 hours redoing my Pinterest mood board to add all these game camera photos of animals eating Jim's feed blocks. If you'd like to know more about Jim's work, we've linked all the details in the description. Here's to hoping for a bright future with a better relationship to death and the dead body. Before you go, you may remember the video we did with Elua Arthur, friend, lawyer, and death doula. Well, surprise! We've been spending the past few months creating a deep self-work course called Mortal. Roll the trailer. Hi, my name is Caitlin Doty.
And my name is Elua Arthur. Welcome to Mortal, our 9-week course designed to help you learn more about your relationship with death and mortality.
Over the last few years, many of us, whether we like it or not, have had to reckon more fully with our own deaths. You know there's deep work to be done, and you'd like to do it in a safe and friendly environment.
While this is a serious topic, there's plenty of fun to be had with her and plenty of compassion to be had, in addition to being kind to yourself. This is hard work. Each week we're going to ask you questions about your relationship to your body, your possessions, your views on the world, and your views on your mortality.
Mortal is self-directed. You'll need about an hour a week for 9 weeks. There's journaling, exercises, meditation, and guidance from our combined 20 years in death and dying.
This course is for anyone who is mortal.
And you are mortal. We put the very best of ourselves into this, and I know there may only be a small portion of this audience interested in this kind of work, but if that seems like you, something you'd like to tackle in the new year, the course is available now at mortalcourse.com. This video was made with generous donations from death enthusiasts just like you. The deer eats a part of it, the deer goes over there, he poops it out, Then there's a tree that grows there, so now I'm a tree over there, I'm food for that bird over there, I'm a pile of poop there, like that, the fact that I could spread myself out that way, it's the messiness and the reality of living in life and death. That's what appeals to me.
You're one step away from being back in the sky. You could become a squirrel, and then the squirrel gets eaten by a hawk, and that could all happen in a day or two.
Have you had any negative reactions?
Oh yeah, the idea of cannibalism or something eating something else, it's people. I have my day job and I have my regular life, and this isn't a subject I bring up to just people because of that. Oftentimes people come back, maybe even days or weeks later. So I've had that happen several times where people, I'm not sure how that person reacted to that. And then surprisingly, I'll bring it up later on in a conversation, like, hope they weren't offended. But like, no, I love that idea.
Now, because this one's new, it's like a newborn baby. It's got a little bit of goop
It's
on 'em.
stickier
A
than...
little stickier than
It smells earthy and a little sticky and a little sweet. It reminds me of a very high-end granola bar that you would get at Whole Foods.
Absolutely. Granola bar for deer. I have recipe cards.
Which is sort of also a little, taking it a little close to the edge of a cooking show,
Yes.
but...